So this is day 3 for our data analysis, day 3 out of 4. And the highlight of today is we're going to use some electronic devices to do our graphing for us, so we don't have to go through the tedious process of doing all the graphing. This particular story is about a physics experiment with a battery, and it's got kind of an interesting looking physics equation. You don't even need to know a lot about the physics. If you did, great. But if not, you can look and go, oh, looks like there are a lot of I's and a lot of these things called terminal voltage. So you could start to circle things here and go, okay, that's going to be an axis, and that's going to be an axis on the graph. And then we can use slopes and y-intercepts to find these other two things. We're actually going to make this terminal voltage the y-axis. That'll work well. And the I can be the across axis. You do need to rearrange that equation a little bit more, because right now this across axis is not where it should be. It should be in the term right after the equal sign, and it should be at the back end of this term, not in front of the R, but maybe after it. So I'll let you do that rearranging. Hey, while you're at it, you can fix this typo on the sheet. It says use the graph paper provided. No, that was a mistake on my part. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said use any electronic device you want to do the graphing for you. And I want to show you 3 different options for doing the graphing. And you can pick any one of the 3 to do the graphing. But I don't want to do the graphing entirely for you with the data you've got, so I've made up my own. This is the set of data I'm going to use, and see if I can find a best fit for all those changing x's and y's. So options, you can pick any of these 3. Here's one. There's an online program out there called Desmos that actually will do the graphing for you quite nicely. Probably the fastest way to do this. So you go to their website, Desmos, and select calculator. And first thing is draw the graph. Second thing is to ask for the best fit. Super easy. Click the little plus sign and say, hey, I've got a table of numbers. And then you can just go ahead and put your numbers in. So what did we have here? 1.5 and 5.1. 5, I can just hit tab. 5.1. Hit tab again. I'm on the next line. And the next line was 2.4 and a 6. Tab and a 6. And then the final pair was a 3.8 and an 8. And it's already done the graph for me, right? Like points are already on there. They're a little bit, wobbly. That's because of the experimental uncertainty, I guess. Next thing, I want a best fit in line, and I want to know what the slope and the y-intercept is. So easy. I'm just going to go up here to the plus sign and say, hey, can you give me an expression? Right? So I've selected plus and then an expression, and here's what you would type in. I want it to do the y equals mx plus b, but this particular set, right? Set number 1, as it's calling it. So I would go y1, and then instead of an equals, we want to put in the thing called a tilde, which is the item that looks like that. So we go y1, the tilde, and then m x1 plus b. Done. That easy. You can see it's added in the best fitting line. It's missing all of the points by a little bit, as it should, because every one of these green points here was wrong. So that's okay. It's doing exactly what it should, and even better, it has got the slope 1.27 or 1.28 to 3 sig figs, and it's got the y-intercept there as well, 3.09. And so that is an acceptable way to do this assignment, but you will have to take a picture with your phone of your work so I can see that it's actually done that graph for you and that it's got those slopes and y-intercepts, and then you can use that to finish it off. So that is one option for completing the assignment. The final part of the assignment is to convert your whole solution, not only your picture of this, but also a picture of your worksheet, okay, when you've done the calculation, so 2 pictures, to convert that into a single PDF document. On an iPhone, there's an option to do that right inside Notes. So ask me or ask your friend to see how to do that. If you don't have an iPhone, or even if you do, I strongly encourage you to consider looking at this app here, Microsoft Office Lens. It's very powerful. It's great at creating like a multi-picture document into one PDF. It's also good for just taking quick pictures of presentations. It crops the screen of a presentation quite nicely from a classroom. So either one of those, just ask me or ask a friend, but you do need to convert it to a single PDF, not two separate pictures that you would send to me. Okay, so Desmos is probably the easiest way to do it. Other options, maybe you don't want to use Desmos. Okay, fine. You could use Microsoft Excel. You can take your data and you can put it into a couple of columns and then get it to do the graph for you. That would look something like this. So I would go and take a look at my data here again. What did we have? 1.5, 5.1. So especially if you're in Physics AP and you've got your computer handy, this might be the fastest way for you because you're so comfortable to doing this. 2.4 and a 6. And I think it was what, a 3.8 and an 8, I think was the last pair there. Yeah, 3.8 and 8. When you're ready, you highlight your data and you say, hey, I need a chart. So I would go up to the chart wizard, and it doesn't have to look elegant. This just has to work. So I would ask for an XY scatter, not a line graph, but an XY scatter. And it goes through a few steps. It says, well, I've got this graph here. It looks like your data was in columns. Yeah, okay. Sounds fair enough. Hit next. And it says, okay, I've got a little chart for you. Okay, fantastic. I like it. We really don't have to do much with it. You could actually just say, yeah, I'm kind of finished. And it goes, great. There's your chart. Okay, it's exactly what you wanted to see. And you're like, yeah, but I'd like to add a best fitting line and maybe see the equation. Sure. Well, the chart is selected, right? So I just want to give the chart focus. I can find the chart menu and then go add a trend line. You want a linear one. And there are options here where you can say, hey, can you show me the equation right on the sheet? And then I hit OK. And it's like, yep, done. Okay, the equation's a little hidden by the grid line there. There, just move it. Done. There's your slope, 1.28. And your y-intercept, 3.09. Okay, and it's got that best fitting line that's missed all of the points. So that's another option for actually doing this. And now the last one. You can actually do this on your graphing calculator, right? You've got a graphing calculator. Turns out it'll actually do this for you. To get to the place where you can put in a table of values, you press the Stat button. Let's turn it on here first. Get this thing fired up. If it'll go. If I can get it to listen to me. Okay, there, got it up and running here now. And I'm going to press the Stat button, and I want to go and edit a list. So I'm glad I'm in this little spot here where I can just hit Enter, and then I'll be able to edit the lists. And it calls the lists L1, L2, L3, all the way up to L6. I'm going to use L1 for my X's and L2 for my Y's. And I can go, okay, so my points. My X's are 1.5, 2.4, and a 3.8. Oops, kind of missed there. 3.8. Great. Got them all into my L1. Now I'm going to go over to list 2 and type those in. So I've got a 5.1. I know my calculator doesn't totally fit on the screen here. I'll move it down in a second here for you. So 6 and 8. Great, so I've got my points all into my lists, L1 for my X's, L2 for my Y's, and now I'm going to go and ask it to do a nice little calculation of the best fitting line. And so you would then go back into Statistics to Stat, right? So I press that button, but now I want to do a calculation. So I slide over, and I hit Enter. And oops, sorry, let me go back here for you. I skipped a step. So Stat, slide over to Calculate, and then we want to go down until we pick this one that says Linear Regression. That basically means best fitting straight line. So I'm going to go down to option number 4, and it says, okay, I'm going to fit this to like an AX plus B. It'd be nicer if it had called that an M, but whatever, I get it. Whatever it calls A, that's the slope, and then B will be the y-intercept. So I hit Enter, and it says, okay, can you tell me where your x's and where your y's are? It's making a good guess for me, right? It says x's are in L1, y's are in L2. Yeah, that's true. If you need to change it, you can see the L's are just up above the first 6 numbers on your number pad. Don't worry about this frequency list, and you don't have to worry about storing the regression. That's just if you wanted to actually graph it. I'm just going to go down and hit calculate, and I hit enter, and it goes, okay, I got it done. There's your slope, there's your y-intercept. So you could just do that and then take a picture of that, and that would be considered done. Okay, so I want you to just have some method where you could actually do this with some electronic device. This will actually graph it as well, by the way, right? If you did want it to do that, you could get it to graph the points and graph that best fitting line, and I can show you how to do that in the classroom if you'd like. So either that or Excel or Desmos, any of those would be fine for this assignment.